Well, after hearing from all of these stories and these speakers, I tempted to just say, let's close with a prayer, because such wonderful stories and inspirations that are central to discipleship. What I would also add is that what does it mean to be a disciple? It means to have a guru. Okay, that's it. But to have a guru means to have a guru. First of all, it means to want a guru. People would challenge Swamiji, do you think I need a guru? He would say, no, of course not. What do you need a guru for? Go on being your own guru. Let your ego be your guru, unless you want God. And as Jayaji was saying this morning, unless you want help, then you need a guru. Because we can be miserable in our own lives and very alone, focusing on trying to solve this mess, and then, crying about it, and the guru comes and says, I can help. No, excuse me, I can't hear my own cries. I don't want any help, I'm beyond help, or I'm busy. I'm busy being sad. I'm busy being lost. And so, first to want help, to want God, and then to have attracted that guru. Not Patanjali, as Shankaracharya said, the greatest blessing in all the three worlds is the help of a true guru. Why? Because he gets you out of the three worlds. Any other blessing is just of those worlds. He's the one who shows you the exit and takes you there. And that's why when you take on a guru, Maya gets concerned and sometimes very active in your life. Because Maya says, uh-oh, somebody sees the exit, get him! They're following that guru, it's starting the parade out of my show. I don't want that. Let's give them some tax problems. Or let's give them some job trouble. Why is it that when we meditate, Guruji, please help me? When we are chanting, Guruji, please help me? When we're serving or cooking, Guruji, please guide me? When it's time to look at the finances, now I have to figure it out. And the Guru says, we were doing pretty well with the prayer and the chant and the cooking, and I could, no, this is money, okay? And then the things we want, sometimes we just shoot for the plains instead of the mountains. I had an experience like that, and I want to go into it in just a moment. But Master said, the spiritual path, the becoming free, is 25% our effort, the disciples' effort, 25% the Guru's effort on our behalf, and 50% the grace of God. And some days we can feel like, look, 75% of it is already finished. Ho gaya. Karachache. No, murachache. Slowly learning Tamil. So, finished. Other days we can feel like 25% is on me. Because it doesn't seem fair. And you can imagine Yoganandaji even saying, okay, I'll bargain with you. I'll do 33%. I'll ask God to do 66%. So can you just do one? But that one takes 100% of our effort. And sometimes it doesn't seem fair because we want to be in bliss. God is in bliss. You're in bliss already. The Guru is in bliss already. I'm the one stuck. So, and the thing is, we are not stuck. We are not alone. We are busy talking. The Guru is here, and we're saying, where are you? Where are you? Tap, tap, tap. No, I'm looking for the Guru. It's so silly, and yet we do it. And so we can stop doing that. But I thought, how to make that real and concrete? Someone asked me, she said, I heard a story of a miracle someone had in their life. What miracles have you had in your life? And I paused for a moment, and then I gave an answer, which I'll give later. But I couldn't think of any miraculous stories at that moment. For example, there was a disciple of Master's who she was very devoted to him, and her husband was very critical. And this was during Master's own lifetime. And so she was driving in a car to see Yogananda, I think, or driving home, one or the other. And her husband was just continuing to criticize and make fun of all the spiritual path. And finally she said, "Master, make him be quiet." And in that moment, mid-sentence, the man... and he was quiet the rest of the trip. Now I could see some of the wives saying, "Now how did she say that?" I'm just kidding. But that these miracles like that come. They don't have to be vast and dramatic. They can be small. And these miracles came through Master, they came through Swamiji, and they come through Master. And they come through Swamiji, even now. And in fact, more so now. There was a devotee who had gotten a new job with a lot of responsibility and was worried about how to expand into this new role. And shortly after being informed about this new job and accepting it, the devotee had a dream. And in the dream, she said, Swamiji was sitting opposite her, saying, "So, what ideas and plans do you have?" And she said, "Well, I spoke to this person and they suggested that. And this person suggested that." And Swamiji said, "What plans do you have?" And she said, and so Swamiji said, "Look, it's not as if I'm just going to pour ideas into your head." And then he said, "Well, maybe a little." We just get guidance all the time. Swamiji was interviewed near the end of his life by someone who said, "You've written this biography of Yogananda. It's wonderful, all these stories you've shared. What would you say is the thing you learned? What was one of the greatest lessons you learned from him?" And Swamiji said, "Well, I learned many things from him, but the greatest gift I received from the Guru is that his constant inner presence whispering to me in my mind all the time." And the interviewer said, he was like taking it on such an intellectual level. What would it mean to have an inner presence whispering, guiding us all the time? Many of you are nodding because you know. And that's really all the Guru does. He comes to us. He is in us. He is always guiding us. All we have to do is listen and then to trust. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone out on my busy day that I have figured out, and there's a whisper, "Why don't you bring an umbrella?" What do I want to bring an umbrella for? I don't need an umbrella. Look at the sky. It's fine. Who needs an umbrella? And then, guess what? I need an umbrella. And I had that whisper, and I ignored it. Why? There's no answer, except sheer stupidity. I didn't decide I wanted an umbrella. I don't want to be told I need an umbrella. That's one reason to resist the Guru, not just before becoming his disciple, but even after. Someone said, "You don't want a guru because he demands mindless obedience." Master said, "Any guru who demands mindless obedience will only attract mindless disciples." It takes great willpower and energy to do what the Guru asks of you. And why does he ask? Master said, "You must always do my will. Remember, I know what lies ahead for you. You don't know. I know." And we see that time and time again. But sometimes he leads us just where we don't want to go. Or just where we're afraid, or just where we see, I'm neither afraid nor I don't want to go. I don't know how to do what you're asking. And so we have a right to say, "Listen, okay, if I don't know now, tell me later." Sometimes part of the test that we're going through is not knowing. So we can't say, "Well, tell me, then I'll be fine." No, part of this challenge is to be ignorant and to trust. But say you're fine, then rain check. You have to tell me in a week, in a month, in a year. I have to know why. I'm willing to trust you, but I want an answer. We can ask that way. And so in these kinds of ways we make the Guru real for us. But we can demand, and we can also enlist his help. There was a situation where this devotee was coming to serve at an ashram in Los Angeles, actually. And the ashram there was at a very busy road, and the devotee and his wife pulled up, parked on the main road, got out of the car, and then were walking towards the ashram and heard this tremendous crash and turn, and someone had just smashed into their car. And after getting over the initial, okay, thank God we're alive, okay, yeah, no, I'm glad we're alive, but given that, what about the car? And this was like the third or fourth time their car had been bumped into something, and they were actually struggling financially at that time. And so the car had this thing missing and that thing dented, and God, not content with that, just went, take the whole thing out. And so they were upset, and it didn't seem fair. Here they were coming to the ashram, coming to serve us in a specific way for Master's work, and he just lets their car get smashed. And the other driver was okay too. And again, all of that, great, thank you, okay. But what about all this? How are they going to get to work? They depended on this car for their job, and they depended on their job at that time especially. So at that moment, things didn't look so good, they didn't look so fair, and it looked like the guru was on vacation. But the story didn't end there. They found out the next day that they could get their insurance policy. Everybody has to have auto insurance. And so their insurance policy said, given the nature of the accident, your car was parked when it was hit, we'll just give you a free rental car while your car is being fixed. So the first fear, we have a car and we don't have to pay for it because it's expensive to rent a car for that long. So then the car is getting worked on, and the insurance company says, now listen, your car was hit on this side and this way. The insurance will cover that repair, but this, and that thing, that was pre-existing. So this is the only damage that we're responsible for. So they go, the car is in the body shop, getting repaired and, hammered out and painted and fixed. They get a call finally after a week. Car is ready, please come. Maybe not with an Indian accent, but somehow, please come. So they're getting ready to go to get the car that afternoon, and they get another call, and the person says, hi, this is the body shop. I'm so sorry, but somebody hit your car in the body shop. So again, at this moment, the guru must be really on vacation. But the man continued. He said, we are so sorry. We will fix the damage of this for free, obviously, and we will fix all the other damage that you had on your car from all the other little hits also for free, just because we're so sorry we made this mistake. So the guru, while on vacation, was able still to instruct the body shop, give them their car fixed. So when you're in that kind of a situation, just keep in mind, the story isn't over yet. And sometimes it's quite grim. I don't mean to make light of it. I've been in situations which were quite grim. But what choice do I have? What choice did I have? I had to keep going. And I had to keep asking him. And sometimes he said, yeah, well, you wait. I'll tell you later. But remember how active Master is in your life. How active Swamiji is in your life. This is what they do. This is their job. They sort of are sitting together in an office with a sign out front, making saints. Making saints. Anyone want to come be a saint? Like recruiters for the army or for TV, advertising and all these things. They're having the sign, we're here to make saints. And everybody just walks by. Some say no thanks, some don't even see the sign. They're looking at their phones. So by the time somebody walks into the office, do you think that the guru says, whatever, read the brochure? He says, excellent, a customer. And that's you. That's each one of us. We have walked in where he's so excited, as he said to Dr. Lewis, when Dr. Lewis said, I will love you always as you love me, as Sadhana Deviji was relating earlier. Master said, excellent, now I can take charge of your life. And I think that's part of the inspiration for the purification ceremony. The Guru says, open your heart to me and I will enter and take charge of your life. So he is thrilled to have you with him. And so another way to look at that formula of 25% is our effort, 25% is the Guru's effort, 50% is the grace of God, is this way. God is watching you. You are a part of him. As Master said, he's throbbing in your heart. He is the nearest of the near, dearest of the dear. And he's watching you. And he's saying, you know, I just have to free. I have to free this one. There's Satyasai. I have to free him. I want to free him. Swamiji's last words in the last lecture that he gave in public, the way he closed that lecture was by quoting a saint who said, if you knew how much God loves you, you would die for joy. So God says, I love you and I want to free you. I need some help. So he says, Yogananda, and bring Swamiji too. Can you guys help him? Because I think it's time he get freed. And they say, excellent. You know, we've had our eye on him too for a long time. And so we're ready. So they're diving in on this project of freeing you. Through a book, through a lecture, through an audio recording, through a glance from a Guru Bhai. One thing Nayaswami Haridas has often said, sometimes in community we heal each other with a glance. We walk into the satsang, oh, hi. How long is this going to be? I noticed they didn't start on time. And then somebody just says, oh, welcome, how are you? That's it, it's healed with a glance. So again, not only we'll be looking for who's going to heal me today, but you also be the one to heal. You can do it unconsciously. You can do it consciously. And it becomes easier and easier. As Master said, when you see a sad face, shoot it with the buckshot of your smiles. And so just give his love, give that love. I want to say one thing though, because sometimes people say, you know, this is quite a lot, and it's a big commitment, and you know, it's easy for you to say that, but I'm just starting out, or I have this responsibility or this trouble. It's important to remember for all of us that it's an ever new journey, but it takes time. And I don't mean it takes time like it takes time, because that's an easy way of saying, you know, it's actually not going to happen. That's not what I mean when I say it takes time. But as Jayaji was saying, take the next step. It took me 3 years from becoming a disciple to then move into a community. And the way I moved into a community was not because I finally figured out that that's what I ought to do. I wish I had been smart enough to figure that out. Instead, I was on the east coast of America, and there was an Ananda community starting there, and I was also in graduate school at the time. And I thought, okay, for the summer vacation, I will go to this new fledgling community that was just about to start. I knew the people coming from Ananda who were coming to start it, and I would go and be there during the summers. And so, in order to do that, I'd have to have some kind of job. So I had a research job that I always went to, always worked at, summers, winters, and so on. And when I wrote to those people and said, hey, I'm coming back, they said, oh, actually, you can't. And this is kind of like you saying to your parents, I'm coming home for Deepavali, and they say, no, you can't. Or Diwali. Like, you know, what do you mean I can't? I have a room. That's my room. No. This was the same thing. I always had this job. They said, no, sorry, you know, we have a new policy. You didn't imply in time, so nahi. So that was odd. And so then I figured, well, I'll stay in Boston where I'm doing my graduate school, and then I'll go to the community from there. And my PhD advisor said, don't stay here. I'm not going to be here the whole summer. So it was like I couldn't go to my one job home. I was getting kicked out of my existing job home. And I said, what am I to do? because I wanted to hang out at an Ananda community on the weekends. And so a friend of mine, a devotee, a disciple of Master, said, are there any opportunities that you have been ignoring? Are there any opportunities that you have been ignoring? And I said, of course not. I always carefully consider every opportunity that comes my way. I have a list. It's color-coded. There are links. Nothing. Oh, why would I ignore an opportunity? Oh, but there is that one. There was one email I had gotten saying, we need somebody who's doing research in artificial intelligence and information retrieval. These are two areas of computer science. I was the only person in the department who had done research in artificial intelligence and information retrieval. And I didn't want the job because I didn't like artificial intelligence. I didn't want to be associated as the guy who does that because I didn't like that. So when I saw the job, oh yeah, does anyone do that? So, and then it came back around again after many weeks. No one had taken the job. It was for a research lab called Xerox PARC, P-A-R-C. That becomes relevant. And so when my friend wrote me this email, have you ignored this opportunity? I thought, well, there is that whole artificial information, whatever thing. Okay, maybe this is it. As gross and unattractive as it is, maybe it's this. So dear people, and yes, I've got your information about this thing, and here is my resume, and there. And a half an hour later, the phone rang. And the person said, hello, is this you? And I said, yes. And he said, hi, this is the guy from the Xerox PARC. We got your letter and your resume. We're just so excited. Can we ask you some questions? I suppose so. And he said, so, what about this? What about that? I mean, basically, he asked me the mathematical question equivalent of, he told me a little bit about their work. And I said, okay, well, if you're, doing this and this and this, what about that? He said, wow. Good question. Now, that question was sort of like if I said to you, A, B, C, and you said D. Whoa! How did you know? It was about that level of question. So it was ridiculous that he would be so like, oh, you are the one. And then he said, well, we want you, can you have this job? I said, well, I've committed to some friends of mine who are, coming to the East Coast, and, I have to kind of talk to them. He said, well, tell them it's a really good job and that you should just have the job. And I said, okay, I'll tell them. And I just wasn't ready to plunge in. Then I hung up the phone because I wanted to spend weekends at this Ananda community that was starting. And then it occurred to me, PARC, P-A-R-C stands for Palo Alto Research Center. And as many of you know, Ananda has a community in Palo Alto, California. And if I took this dumb job, I could live in the Ananda Palo Alto community all the time. Weekends, weekdays, mornings, nights. I could be in an established community of all these years. I could be shoulder to shoulder with all these wonderful souls. It was so much more than what I had envisioned. And so I took the job, and that's how I came to move there. So all that is to say that, as Jayaji said recently in another situation, you give your life to God. You give your life to the Guru. And everything else works out. Swamiji said, let God flow through you. Let Him do things through you. He does a much better job. God bless you all.